Hello.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I just want to welcome everybody to this is the fifth edition of our neighborhood chats. Did not think that this would take off, but here we are.
Yeah, you've been doing your thing.
Yeah, I'm trying, and
Yeah,
I'm proud to introduce everyone to Rebel Foster. I'm sure uh, a lot of people know who you are, but to those who don't, I it is my pleasure to introduce you to others. Because I mean, everybody has been known for a while, but you are one of the best DJs in the city. So
thank you. Appreciate it. I try my best. I don't know. I try my best to tell people I'm just a guy that loves music, and I start from there. Um, Especially when I feel like we're connecting. So I don't know. I think I always had this thing like, as far as like making myself greater than the person I'm connecting with.
mm,
Like,
mhm.
um, I just imagine us both hanging out, just like vibing out the music. That's really how I, treat my artistry, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess just to kind of officially kick off the interview, I'm going to. I've been starting all of these conversations with the same basic question, which is, "How are you?"
I'm blessed, to be completely honest. Like, I'm blessed. Like, anxious. I had to take a nap because I had like a panic attack today.
Oh
So
no.
I really, and I'm pretty open about it because I think for me to like get over something, I have to accept it first. So one of the things that I dealt with today was a panic attack because based off the circumstances what's going on, it's a lot to take in. So, um, but besides that, like I've been taking it day by day, doing my best. Um,
Yeah. I mean, not to get too personal, but I do want to let folks know because I mean, this situation is affecting the nightlife scene more so than any other industries in the city.
mm,
So if you can I mean, of course, with some caution on your end, of course, if you don't want to share, you don't have to. But what are some of the issues that you're going through right now?
oh, aside from not having a creative outlet available,
Hmm.
um, finances. I mean, I'm doing my best. Like I'm being strategic, being smart about how I move. Like, um, I've been blessed enough to have opportunities to receive donations during streaming.
Nice.
Um, I'm able to take care, bills and stuff for the most part for this past month. So it's been cool. Hey everybody. Yeah. So I think with my personality, when I get hit with things um severely, then it is, how can I put it? I try my best to be resilient and learn
Hmm.
how to bounce back from situations. So because I don't have the luxury of going out every day and working, um, now I have to utilize this time to like enrich myself.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm practicing. I wasn't practicing as much. Now I'm practicing like closely every day. If it's a live stream set, like every time that I utilize, I practice. I'm
Yeah.
reading. Um, I just started a class, like a free Harvard class on like Handel's Messiah, the
Nice.
Hallelujah chorus.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
I'm learning about like homophonic textures, polyphonic textures in music,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Because
I'm really
that
excited.
song has what, 6 parts? Like it's not like the classic 3 or 4 part harmony. Like it's how many parts? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a lot of parts. I'm learning more, so it's like trying to learn how that relates to the music that I play. What am I
Hmm.
listening for now as a DJ
Yeah.
due to like receiving this information? But it's interesting. Like I took a trip of Philly to do my set at Wow,
Yes.
um, and riding by and I see all these businesses boarded up, and I'm like, I got sad
Yeah.
because I'm from Chester. I'm like originally from Chester, PA. So I
Mm-hmm.
commute to Philly. Um, I've been commuting to Philly for like the past 3 years to work,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and just seeing it like dead like that in the streets is like it's heartbreaking, to be honest. Because it was a Friday night. Usually the Saints
Yeah.
open up. I'm just like, damn, like it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, for those, because I mean, ironically, this is our first ever interview. So,
oh,
I don't think I ever learned your journey to being a DJ. And I don't know if a lot of people do, because I mean, you're not like, I mean, we could go on that for another day, but it doesn't seem like a lot of our DJs get interviews and major
mm,
publications and whatnot. But
mm.
like, like, what is your DJ story?
Oh, well, originally, me and my siblings were in a performing arts program,
Mm-hmm.
from like 8 to like 13. I learned like, music, acting, dance. So like I have a background in, jazz and modern
Mm.
music.
Oh,
And
really? I never.
yeah,
Interesting.
so
I do too, actually. So that's interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That plays a part in like my musicality as a DJ. I ended up playing in a marching band from, well, I played tenor saxophone from 12 to about 16. So I
Okay.
was in a marching band growing up, and I didn't get along with my band teacher,
Mm-hmm.
so I ended up quitting, or more so, I got kicked out
Oh.
of band camp during the summer, and I ended up joining this youth youth and music program called Team Mac,
Okay.
hip hop based program. Taught DJing, audio production, like anything related to rap, like hip hop and music. So I started DJing when I was like 16,
Mm-hmm.
and I was volunteering at a skating rink, and that was affiliated with the youth group. And at a certain point, I asked like, "Yo, can I do a set? Can I do a set?" And my first DJ set was at CN Skate Palace in Ashton, PA, when I was
Interesting.
16. Uh,
Okay.
and I don't know, I just got really hungry. I just had a taste for like wanting to spin everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up hanging out at Swarthmore College when I was 16, 17. Learned how to do audio engineering there.
Hmm.
Uh, and I became friends with a student there, and I ended up like DJing my first college party when I was like 17. So
Interesting. Nice.
yeah, so it was, and a place like Swarthmore is really good for like musical enhancement because they have like such an open ear, and it
Mm-hmm.
exposed me to like a lot of music that I wouldn't usually listen to. That's one of my bandmates that just chimed in too. um, yeah, and so I was, listening to like a lot of Tribe, um, listening to like Teebs and Flying Lotus and um,
Mm-hmm.
Nirvana, like having all these musical influences like hitting me at a young age. It started affecting me when I played music. So um, I started hip hop just like everybody else. Like I
Yeah.
mean anybody like DJing black areas, especially being a
Mm-hmm.
professor. I grew up on like a lot of hip hop stuff, but
Right.
I think by the time I graduated high school, I started to like kind of figure out my own sound. Like,
Yeah.
what do I like? Like, when things get repetitive for me, like a style of music, I want to look for more. So I started getting into like, I don't know, just like I grew up around like the mixtape era in like
Mm-hmm.
2011. That's when I graduated high school. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like Cool Kids, Kendrick Lamar,
Mm-hmm.
Action Bronson, like, and I started playing those cats in my sets, and I had this abstract sound to how I played sets. Then
Mm-hmm.
again, um, when I did parties locally, I would play what people wanted to hear, but I was also like kind of developing my own taste and like what I like to play
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. So um, after high school, kept doing sets like studio parties in the summer, college parties for free. uh, what else I was doing? Like birthday bashes, like cookouts, family reunions and stuff like that. And through my journey, I ended up learning how to secure residencies. So my first residency was at a hookah lounge. And I held that residency for like 6 months. I just had this fascination with like holding on to something and being obsessed with the idea of having a steady income, because I didn't really work a job. I was like really creative. So like, so I was, doing residencies, playing at this place for like $50 a night every weekend. But I had some money in my pocket and I'm being consistent, you know what I'm saying? And then I ended up transferring from Cheney my first semester to Art Institute, which how I landed in Philly. And once I landed in Philly, like all my classmates in film school, I went to school a little bit for film. All of my classmates started booking me for like underground rap shows and stuff.
Interesting.
So I'm playing at I'm not sure if you're familiar with Goldilocks Gallery downtown.
No.
It was like way up there. I used to play at the Fire. I used to do
I know the Fire.
I played at Legendary Dobbs.
Yeah.
Before it closed. But just building that network was a blessing, because you manifest certain things, and I'm like, hey, I want to get into like Philly. That was the goal. I'm doing stuff locally, but I want to hit Philly. Yeah. So that was my way into Philly. Next thing you know, I'm doing underground rap shows and stuff like that. And I just stayed patient with it, because sooner or later I just wanted to start rocking parties.
Yeah. But what do you bring from Chester to Philly?
Whew. I don't know. I that's a good question. I like to believe some type of like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to say gritty, but some type of rawness. Rawness and like openness. Because like that's like what my city is built off of.
Yeah. What are the differences between like Chester and Philly from even though it was like 10 miles away from each other, but like, what are the differences in terms of like culture and how you guys like embrace music?
Word. Well, Chester, a lot of people migrated from the South to Chester. Before you hit like Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, DC, Chester's first. So a lot of people from down south moved to Chester. And like people from like Atlanta, people from like New Orleans, like so a lot of down south music influences have seeped in. So I was listening to like No Limit, Pastor Troy, MJG. What else I grew up?
Because that's interesting. They definitely weren't in Philly like that. Now that I think about it.
Say it again.
Because I mean, those artists definitely weren't like on rotation in Philly.
Nah. Nah. Yeah. So when I remember when I was like at Cheney, I played New Orleans bounce, and the guy that was hosting the party turned around, looked at me, and he was like, "Yo, what's this?" And in my mind, I'm just like, "You never heard this before?" And it's so crazy how like New Orleans bounce. It's crazy how like New Orleans bounce nowadays is influenced everywhere. Like you got people playing everywhere. You got people playing stuff. And I'll be hearing certain people are doing like New Orleans bounce theme parties. I'm like, yo, I grew up on this stuff. Yeah. Like I grew up on like chopper style, like Walk Like Ronald. There's a lot of like underground old school stuff that I was familiar, that I would identify with, and other people be like, yo, what's this? It would sound new to them. So, yeah, a lot of down south music influence. Chester gets bad rep for like the violence, but we know how to party. Like
And if I'm not mistaken with Chester, you guys also have a lot of dance groups, right?
Yeah, well, there was a big like drill team culture in
Yeah.
Chester.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was, drill teams like during like Mother's Day parades and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was dope. Like the Mother's Day parade was always dope because you have so many drill teams. You'll be surprised how many people like express themselves through arts. Like you see them day to day, but then when it comes to like major events, you'll see who's actually talented,
Mhm.
and it'd be a big amount of people. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I know he drummed. Oh, I didn't know he danced. Oh, I didn't know he know how to pop lock. Like you're always surprised by
Yeah.
what's actually going on.
So just to bring it to fast forward a little bit, what's great about you, and for those who don't know, I mean, you kind of built your audience on your own, and it definitely took a while for because I mean, and not only that, like you used to just spend with anyone for any party, and now you're throwing your own parties. So if you don't mind, like talking about that transition and almost like and even like the differences between the two from you kind of being like a part of the party to being the party, if that makes sense.
Um, well, my biggest thing, my biggest thing that I guess I'll take pride in is like that I support like unconditionally, and
Mm-hmm.
like I can say over like I've been in Philly DJing for more than 3 years. I've been DJing for 10 years,
Right.
but I've been DJing in Philly for a good like 4 or 5, like
Mm-hmm.
prior to like where I am now. But when I was exploring Philly and seeing what Philly is about with the DJ scene, like I was amazed. Like I was always fascinated with it. So I would never go to events like if Mr. Sonny James or like Matt Law or like Bobby Flowers, if they're playing in certain places, like um I didn't go up to him like, yo, bro, I DJ too, like let's connect. I literally would just shake their hand, say you're doing great, and I would just like watch and study. So I
Mm-hmm.
spent a lot of time just supporting and studying other DJs in Philly, um, and influenced my sound. Like I'll tell people today, like if it wasn't for um, me taking that trip to like Silk City after class on a Thursday to
Mm-hmm.
go see Sonny James and Matt Law, I don't think my sound would have changed as
Mm-hmm.
a DJ. Because for one, there's an organicness to it. There's songs I've never heard before that sound great. Um, what else? I think I lost my point. But there's a soulful quality to it. That's what like I was just astonished, like watching them at Motion, um, and see how soulful they was incorporating, like foreign exchange with like with like something new that's on the radio. I'm just like, yo, like wow. So I started going back home and I started, instead of me doing EDM stuff, because I was like really big into EDM, um, I'm playing like George Benson in my sets. Like I'm
Yeah.
playing Kate Trinata in my sets. Like I'm switching from that hard gritty sounds and like hip hop bass to like more soulful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it was just, I don't know, just being patient for real. Like
Mm-hmm.
being patient through it all,
Mm-hmm.
because there was a point where like I quit my job, I got evicted, and I'm taking gigs at like dive bars or like taking whatever I can back home locally, but they wasn't really accepting my sound at that time.
Yeah.
I was different. They use terms like, oh, he's different, blah blah blah, and like they would cut me out of the conversation because I'm not going the typical route that they would want me to go. And it wasn't until Sonny always had a relationship with Matt prior to me like telling him about me DJing, being like really strong about it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I will always talk to him. I always talk to Sonny. I keep in touch with them. I'm sending them tracks and stuff that I think would work dope in their sets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Sonny reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do a mix for Ugly Bass?" Because he's been watching me doing live mixes in like 2016.
Yeah.
So here I am going through like all this stuff, and like trying to figure out what the next move is. I'm making a vision board on my wall, trying to, to manifest some stuff. And I'm getting this opportunity to do like an ugly bass mix. So the ugly bass mix, which I did a guest mix for like for an hour, it kind of put me on people's radar. And, I got an opportunity to spin at the Saint for happy hour.
Yes.
So it was like, all right, well, instead of me doing like these local bars back home and, risking or being complacent with what they want, let me take this leap. So I went to the Saint and I was like consistent at the Saint every Thursday. Like, I'm grateful to God because I could have been sick. You know what I'm saying? Like every Thursday I'm up there. I'm taking a trip. I'm catching the L. I'm catching the 109 and I'm traveling because this opportunity is great for me. So the traffic through the Saint, all types of people coming through it, and it they're letting me know I'm dope, and I'm building relationships through that. And the next, I'm getting invited out to do a guest set here. I really want to big up Guns Garcia. Because Guns Garcia, it was Guns Garcia, Matt, Bulal, Jaber were like really the first three DJs that like put me on something with them. But Guns Garcia put me on Man Crush Monday.
Okay.
Which was like my first like prime time thing. Pulling up on a Monday, playing with Guns Garcia, I get invited back again. Right. And people who are going to Man Crush Monday are like, "Yo, you're dope," and I'm just networking and building relationships with people like organically, which I'm really grateful for. So a lot of it was just, I don't know, just really just that idea of just being patient and just like being patient and just waiting for your turn. But working through it the whole time. Like there wasn't a point I wasn't up Philly just traveling. Just like visiting people, going to sets, like going to parties I wouldn't usually go to. And it's all dope to me,
Yeah.
Like everything. I've been to like I went to like Sundays during the summer with Lee Jones. I'm going through like mad decent parties during the nighttime. Like I'm visiting, like I'm literally like I'm just a scholar on a journey. That's how I viewed it. Like there's nowhere I wasn't gonna go. Yeah. Because it's everybody, every scene in Philly is so special. And I look at the DJ, I'm like, they're special because they're able to like capture their crowd and cater to their crowd and make their crowd comfortable.
Yeah. One of the things I learned, and I mean, I'm a lifelong Philadelphian, but, when I came back from college, I learned that it takes, and this isn't just within the nightlife scene. I think this goes across any like super niche, tight-knit community in Philadelphia. It takes about 2 years to really build a good network within those spaces that you're trying to grow through.
For sure.
So one of the questions I had for you, you talked about the struggle and the even some of the bumps in the road. So how does it feel now? And now it's kind of relative, but now being this prominent DJ in the city, and if you feel like you're there yet.
I don't feel like I'm there yet, and I think that's what drives me. I had like some real conversations when the pandemic hit, like a lot of self-reflection, a lot of things I was told about myself, especially maneuvering as a DJ that's like moving. I feel like moving upwards because like 2019 was such a blessing. It was really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But it was really a blessing. And I didn't want to be in a position where I felt like I'm bigger than anyone, And if I gave off that type of energy, then I had to like dial back and think about like what is going on? Like what decisions am I making or how am I conducting myself to rub people the wrong way, because that's not my intention. So
Mm-hmm.
when this pandemic hit, like, I had conversations, and I really had to sit down and think, like, you know, this is a good opportunity to kind of like step back and recalibrate and reflect on um, who I am as a person. What do I stand for? What relationships do I think are worth having, and what relationships I don't think are worth having?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm just grateful. Like, anybody who favors me as somebody, you know, who thinks of me in that regard, I'm just grateful. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really it. Like, I really have to just humble myself and be grateful, and continue to like keep that relationship and reputation going amongst the people that like are rooting for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really don't have interest in like letting people down. You
Mm-hmm.
know, especially at this point in my career. Like, it's crazy. It just happened fast, but I firmly believe that like me supporting people unconditionally and showing people love and being personable plays in the plays plays a part of my growth.
Mm.
I don't I'm never satisfied with my skill, which is why I'm always on top of myself.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do take pride in like just building relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what matters the most to me, as especially at this point in my career. Like, I'm 27, and there's a lot of DJs around my age who are just like starting out, like 2 years in. And
Mm-hmm.
my mentality is like, I'm 10 years in, so now I'm looking for more in myself, you know. But really,
Mm-hmm.
apart DJing is really, I really look at it as like um the in percentage sense, like 25% like skills and 75% like um I don't know, like what's the word I'm looking for? So the 75% is uh just being like being personable
Mm-hmm.
and building community. Like, that's really what our job is. Like, we play tracks to make people happy and make people joyful, you know. Um some people play uh because it makes them feel good. I like to play to make other people feel good, and that's how I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
No,
I don't want to
it
be.
absolutely does. But I, and I think a few other people in the crew would, in the group today would say that you definitely are one of the best in the city, and I really mean that. So
And it means a lot.
yeah, and Queen is right. You know, it takes a combination of you know. Of skill, being able to read the room, and having the it factor. She's 100% correct. And I think you have all three.
Not
Uh,
thank you. I appreciate it for sure.
and you know you have I mean what's great with you you're also pretty generous with your platform, so you know you always every time you spin you always have people do impromptu sets on top of
Yeah.
yours, or um you like with your happy hours they end up being ciphers for for uh for for all DJs, not even not even depending on skill level. So can you talk about that and why you're so open with your space? Because a lot of people won't. A lot of people don't.
Well, I mean, like, what, like, for somebody. So for me, like, dealing with anxiety, um, I'm always in my head about like, am I doing good or not, blah blah blah. But I always find myself surrounded by some good ass people who just happens to DJ. And the scene that's coming up, there's so many people. Like, when Beers and Bangers came about, which was the happy hour. Prior to that, that was just me. I was doing this build, destroy, build type thing,
Mhm.
where I'm just like, um, where I'm just like, all right, this concept not gonna work, so let me try something else. All right, this concept isn't gonna work. And then I was like, I just remember every Thursday, Matt Law was doing Thursdays for Love, and I would open for him like an hour. But the relationship, like, I would watch how he just vibing with people. He's just vibing with people, and I'm just like, you know what, like, I want to do an open deck because I like the idea of community. I like the idea of fellowship, and there was homies that were starting to pull up or that saw me post a flyer for open decks and like built like crazy relationships with them, and people would be consistent just showing up and playing, and like I love that. That's one thing that I like about Philly. Like there's a strong sense of community when you're in the right spots.
That is 100% true.
You know, like
I talk to that about Queen all the time, and a few people. You know, Philly gets this bad rep of being what is the word? Very cliquish, and I mean it is. But once you're in the cliques, it's actually very tight knit. You're 100%.
Yo, and they got your back. They'll call you out on your shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? They'll hold you accountable. Like, they won't let you look bad out here because there's people that talk to me all the time in Philly that, like, they'll say something that might rub me the wrong way, but at the end of the day, when I actually sit down and listen, like, they're looking out for my best interests.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're very protective. Like, it's like a family sense. You know, like, and with Beers and Bangers, like, there's so many people that I met through that bar, like, that changed my whole perspective on, like, bars and clubs and stuff. Like, you meet so many amazing people in these places.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if we can't vibe out, well, come play a couple of songs, or like let's it's like a gym. Like the open decks is like a gym because there's DJs that people aren't checking for that are like, that got me like, oh, I gotta step my game up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? It's good sportsmanship. It's I also just wanted to create a space where, like, it wasn't judgmental. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't limiting. Like, all types of people can come through.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's going to judge you for it. You know what I'm saying? And I think if we created more platforms like that for people, you know, we could definitely build like a really strong community and a strong movement.
Yeah. You know, so I do want to take a quick commercial break, not logging off, but I just want to let people know this is a neighborhood chat. So if you guys have questions for Rebel, feel free to drop them in the comments or send us one directly and we will answer it. Also, I have three announcements at the end of this that you don't want to miss. So back to the conversation. So what, now that you've been in Philly for 5-6 years, you're now a prominent DJ, what needs to be fixed? Because I mean, there's always some bullshit thread that comes out about Philly's nightlife scene is X, Y, and Z, and it's not right, and there's always these comparisons to other cities. So in your opinion, like, what's quote unquote wrong with the Philly nightlife scene?
Oh man. Well, I can speak personally. I think we need to organize like crazy. Like my homie, shout out to Brother Taj. Like, they want to get like a DJ union going on, and we need to have representation because, unfortunately, I don't expect every day to be every night to be a great night, right? As a DJ,
right?
And my experience at a restaurant and how it's treated and how people of color that I would send in place of me were treated versus how non-people of color were treated. And it sucks because in a business sense, like, we have to look at things in a business sense, and like, it's just business. But at the same time, like, if we had each other's backs, I feel like we would be in a strong position to like shut certain places down and stream, like women and people of color that are DJs, like non-binary DJs, like how everybody's getting treated out here. like we would shift the paradigm, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm really interested in. I'm you know, God allow we all make it through this thing.
Right.
um, I want to see more organic and more organic events, and not solely reliant on like these big places of business
Mm-hmm.
who are the decision makers on like what type of crowd they want to have. Like I've been told like I need to play for white people. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was a point where I had to like question like what am I doing this for? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
how do I look? Like, you know, just my self respect, and like am I is this really worth it? Even though I'm trying to build a tunnel for like friends of mine to get in and make money, but yo, we really gotta mobilize. Like you're absolutely right. You gotta mobilize, and we have to support each other.
Yeah.
And we gotta stop. Like I don't know, it's out of my control, but this false sense of support for each other.
Mm.
Um,
In what
and,
ways? I say,
um,
listen, if it call this shit out, I want to
yeah.
know.
I mean, there's been time I've been to events where like people pull up for their homies, which is like you know expected. But they'll do a set and everybody bounce. Like I saw that shit at like hip hop shows all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is a movement going to get started if we're just like conditionally supporting people? Like,
Yeah.
now let me see what this other person's about, because that's what I built my career on. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a hypocrite. I never pulled up on one person and just stayed for them. Like I want to see, what other people are doing too. And I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say because I see this comment is the Philly thing that must be in the air, and I am in a situation now where I can attest that it's not just the Philly thing, and I do
Okay.
think that's a negative reputation that I don't think is fully tied to Philly. I will say though, it's totally an ego thing, and I
Yeah.
think people want to join and unionize to support their own agenda, and then they just want people to follow them, and then they get mad that people aren't following them, so then they back out and get mad at and end up getting mad at the agenda. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's the thing
It's
that I
wild.
have is it's not about it's about how can we as a group move this thing forward. And that's and yes, you can talk about things and negative situations that you've gone through to inform the betterment of the union. It has to be about the collective force. You know what I mean? Like um, when all the folks in the 60s and every movement, it was always, there was always a platform.
To
like
push that
right,
that monster through. You know what I'm saying?
right, and it has to start there. So like, what's the platform? And it better not be seeming like one person is controlling the goddamn platform. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the issue I always see. And again, the situation I had was actually much. I'm seeing is much larger than it's not larger than Philadelphia in terms of geographics. It's a
It's
more
a cultural thing.
yeah.
It's definitely a general culture thing. Like you know, like a lot of DJs nowadays are influenced more so by like uh the aesthetic of like what looks
Mm-hmm.
good. Like you know what I'm saying? I studied film. Like I know what a shot how it can influence somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like especially with like these parties, like it can literally be 10 people and they can make that thing look like it was like 55 and make themselves look good, and that gets them booked. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like when you actually go to these events, it's like, all right, cool, y'all doing your thing, but now you're about to dip out because your friends had a guest set where
Yeah.
everybody could just be like frolicking and like having a good ass time and building something organically. Like that's like I always so my thing was this back home, before I started DJing in Philly like consistently, the the ritual was every third Saturday we gonna go to Kung Fu Necktie.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Every third Saturday, and we're gonna go early because that's when all the dope shit's being played.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
we pull up, there's literally 10 people in a room, and then Kung Fu Necktie, that's a small number. And you
Mm-hmm.
pull up there, and like you listening to like B-sides, you listen to all this stuff, and we're like vibing out with each other. And then it start building. More people start coming in. More people start coming in. And the
Mm-hmm.
music starts going up. And the music starts going up. And it's like I feel like that right there is such a lost art.
Yeah.
It's such a lost art. And that's why I I just study stuff like that. I study how to like vibe out with somebody. If I know this person's coming through, like my friend Ava, when I know Ava walks in the room, Stevie Wonder has to be played
Right.
every time. I don't care who's there because I want to make her happy. And then lo and behold, somebody else in the room might also love Stevie and they just
Mm-hmm.
connected on something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or if this person comes in, this person, I got to play house. Or I got, you know, like with the dance community too, like when dancers pull up to my parties, I'm going to make sure I'm going to play something for y'all too. Like
Right.
it's easy to play. It's easy to play um, familiar stuff that's going to get people hyped, right? That's the easy part. The hard part is like, how can I incorporate something that includes them too?
Yeah. Mm.
You know,
That's good.
and this goes back to what I'm saying. It's such a lost art, and I think that needs to come back to Philly. That
Mm-hmm.
like idea of like building up, building building energy up,
Mm-hmm.
not going hard every time.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of signs of and Marla, he is a great DJ. Hey boo. Um so Ava, speaking of Ava, just asked, and I actually believe you're the one who asked this on to Matt, which was, what has been your most spiritual experience while DJing?
Um, Woody's. I played at Woody's.
Interesting.
Um, I played a New Orleans remix of Tamia, So Into You,
Wow.
and
Wow.
like a lot of people who don't know, like New Orleans bounce music is heavily rooted in queer community.
Yes.
Like a lot of the MCs are queer people.
Mm-hmm.
So why isn't this being played in Woody's? You know, like we go for the trap stuff, we go for this stuff, but like, how can I connect with the queer community? I'm gonna play some dope shit, and I played
Yeah.
that, and everybody went crazy, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, this really did work.
Yes. Well, I need that mix too. Me
Oh,
and
I got you. I
Quinn.
got you. But like, what pushed me just being fearless and taking a chance and just loving music first.
Mm-hmm.
Like despite my music my musical upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
like I had to connect with it. Like I had to connect with the music somehow, and I just love the fact that like I can play something somebody else takes personally,
Yeah.
and now we didn't connect it. We connected together as people.
Right.
So when it comes to spirit, every time I play, like, excuse me, every time that I'm playing, like, once that energy goes up, I feel a spiritual connection to the music.
Hmm. What is your actual spiritual connection to the music? Like, is it the songs themselves? Is it how it makes people feel?
It's a connect. It's a mix of both. It's a mix of both. Cause like when um when I hear like "Thank You" by Alicia Myers,
Oh, yes. I call that the most ratchet ass gospel song of all time.
yo,
Thank you,
yo,
God, because I, but honestly, she's right though. But
yo,
sing
like that,
Alicia.
yo, that John, man. Every time I hear that, like my energy goes up and I'm dancing. Like I do this thing. Like I used to never dance during my sets.
Mm-hmm.
Funny being a dancer, I just used to like be so focused, and it's funny. That's how I can tell like a lot of DJs are new because
Mm-hmm.
the focus into like making sure everything goes right versus the like the flow and feeling of it.
Right.
So I used to be that. I used to have this mean face and everything, but now I get joyful and I allow, yo, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Queen Joe, you know, yo, that part is crazy. But like the flow and it just brings it out of me. That's why like I used to love like going to F&F early, and you hear like the B-side joints. I'm like, whoo.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I'm lost. Like there's plenty of pictures of me sweating my ass off. I'm just like,
Right.
oh my god, you know,
Uh-huh.
like, and I think that that element needs to come back.
Yeah.
DJs need to feel what they're playing. Like, and who's to say?
Yeah.
If they're playing trap music and they feel connected through that, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
can't knock that either because that might be another feeling that I don't understand.
Right.
But if I could say anything that needs to change, is that.
What other songs give you joy?
Ah, man. Anything like neo soul,
Mm.
um, neo soul like R&B.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm always playing like Glenn Lewis in my sets now.
Yeah.
Um I'm playing Foreign Exchange. I'm playing I'm trying to think. Yeah, I play like a lot of music Soul Child. Like that
Mm-hmm.
his music really like it's like a warm up for me. Like I play Speechless by Music Soul Child off his first album.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like my mantra, and that like it's like I'm doing a transition from like uh I'm Brian, now I'm Rebel, about to take off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that song that loads me up, and I'm just like, now I'm out of here. So like stuff like that. I really love neo soul stuff. Like I listen to jazz when I'm not spinning. I'm listening to like Chick Corea. I'm listening to like um, Joe Henderson. I'm listening
Mm-hmm.
to like just stuff to kind of like chill me out because I'm always playing crazy stuff. I'm always playing like really hype stuff. So for me to
Mm-hmm.
chill out, I listen to jazz music or nothing. Sometimes I don't listen to anything at all.
Mm. Interesting.
But like jazz music definitely, um, it helps me out a lot for sure.
So I want to give people just give another commercial break. We have about 10 and some change minutes left. So I definitely want to give the folks another opportunity to submit some questions. What's interesting, for me personally, right now, house music is what's giving me joy. More so like the spiritual house that Lady Alma does and the gospel house, like
Mhm.
that's what I've been connecting to because one I love like upbeat rhythms. And then I'm a black kid who's Baptist. So I love
Yo,
love my Jesus.
yo,
So
I already know, like, yeah, I already know, like, it's that house music, like going to those Sunday parties,
hmm
like early in the years when they was doing City Tap House,
yes.
and like my
hmm
classmate, a lot, my film school classmate Kaylina, she would work the door, and we
Hmm.
busted up with her, go in there, and they playing all this house music. I'm watching all these people, families and stuff, um, just like going in, and I'm just like, wow, here I am. I grew up off of like down south, like gritty
hmm
trap music, and now I'm accepting this like just beautiful upbeat music, and I'm watching how it affects other people.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing wrong with getting influenced with like things outside of your comfort zone,
Oh
especially
yeah.
when it's that positive energy is crazy. Like,
hmm
house music, I love house music at this point.
Yeah.
I
hmm
feel more comfortable like going to parties now, going at like house parties and seeing how people are like just connecting with each other and just displaying beautiful energy towards each other. Like
hmm
that's a rarity. Like when
Yeah.
you look at house is a sacred thing.
Yeah. I
Um,
didn't realize how sacred it was until maybe like a couple years ago. Like it's not only is the music sacred, but the community is very sacred as well. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And I think, and I actually think Anderson Street. I hate that that's like a stuff. I'm not saying that as a like a like a selfish plug, but like I think this platform has allowed me personally to go into other scenes and and to tap into different communities and learn about them
Yeah, it's
and
fun.
whatnot. Yeah.
It's
And
fun.
and Jack, oh, he's definitely talking about house. She said that there's a difference between house and EDM.
Oh yeah, nah. I mean EDM like that. It was fun and cute in like 2013 to me.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that was like a phase because it was really rugged and a lot of like crazy bass and synth. And then when I heard like um, I think it's like Carrie Chandler. I think it's Carrie Chandler. But like different artists like them, like
Hmm.
I was like, wow, like that soulful stuff. You can tell where the soul is,
Yeah. Hmm.
versus like the electronic stuff. But when I
Yeah.
got influenced, like even being in Philly being in Philly during the summer outside with that is perfect.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
can go home or you can start the next day feeling good. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like
Oh,
after
you're
having
right
experience
about
like
that.
that.
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. Like, there's something about a day party that plays good music.
like yo, I'm ready for work the next day. Like
Right.
I get to go to
Hmm.
sleep with a smile on my face. Like that's a rarity. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
um, but yeah, Philly's dope when it comes to that. That's why I'm like, I'm looking forward to the summer. Till even to this day, I'm looking forward to the summer.
Hmm.
'Cause I think the summer is going to be really beautiful.
Well, shit, it better be after these goddamn issues in the damn house. I don't think the
Yeah.
sun can take no more. Please.
Oh man.
Uh, but because we're winding down, I want to give folks an opportunity to hear. If I mean, we do gotta. If somebody wants to drop us a quick question, but until then, I want to let people know how they can support you even now, especially now during these times.
Well, honestly, like a share, a share means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I go live, uh, I have a website, fosterishere.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know if there's a mix that you would like. I'm thinking I'm about to like start doing personal mixes for people, just to,
Oh,
just to connect with folks. Like, um, so I think that's something that I want to focus on too. Like, just cater
wow.
to people and like let me know what you're in the mood for, and or send me a playlist if you want me to mix it. Like, I'm not asking for anything in return, but I just want to be able to like connect with people still, like while I'm like locked away behind the house.
Well, a flurry of hearts that immediately erupted when you offered the personal mix. So DM him,
Yeah,
or you visit the website because that I would love that as well. I
yeah,
think that's a really dope idea.
yeah. But besides that, just like take care of yourself. Take care of
Hmm.
yourself. I'm around, as the folks say. Like I'm always down to have a conversation. Like the homies always hit me up to talk. Um, but yeah, like if I do more wild stuff, like my PayPal, my Venmo is up. Like there's no
Hmm.
obligation, but if you wanna, donate, that'd be dope.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm just scheming, like just plotting and scheming on in a good way on like
Yes,
different
as
different
we all
different
should be. Right.
like concepts and content I should put out, um
Mhm.
and just trying to collab. um yeah, that's about it.
So thank you for coming. This would,
Yeah,
I
thanks for
guess,
having me for
will
sure.
kind of conclude our fifth rendition of our neighborhood chats. And as I said at the beginning, I do have three big announcements. One, we finalized our guests for next week. Monday we have Jeff Bradshaw.
Nice.
Wednesday, excuse me, we have We have Natalie Imani. She's does a lot of stuff, but she's the lead background singer for John Legend. And then on Friday, we should might as well just call this DJ Friday. We have Craig Dash, so that'll be an
Oh,
interesting conversation.
that's Uncle Craig. Shout out to
Yeah,
Uncle Craig, man.
shout out to Craig. And then Thursday, we speaking of house music, we will be hosting here on Anderson Street, IG, Soul Glow, which is an amazing happy hour house party that kind of started about a year and a half ago. So
Yeah, those are beers and banger homies for sure.
Yeah, all of them came through Beers and Bangers. So that's going to happen on Thursday. And I will say that we will be relaunching Flawless next weekend.
Nice.
So we will be announcing that in the morning, and you will not want to miss it.
Yo, tell your friends to follow Anderson Street too. Like tell your homies, start sharing that, because what you're doing is like so important. You know, it's a no, for sure. It's a lost element like that we need right now. You know, like an alternative to what's being given to us. So please follow Anderson Street. Very important. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Listen, Anderson Street is for everyone else, I am very I'm very explicit in that it is for the creatives out there who it's always hard for them to promote their stuff, because again, I have a background in PR, so I know how hard it is to get stuff in media. So then it's for people like me and you who love music, who want to find out about stuff. So it's twofold. And then now it's almost with COVID, I get to actually like do the stuff that I really always wanted to do. So here we are. So I think we're back at square one. I better get that merch. Yeah, I've sketched out a few ideas for merch. Anderson, I do like that. Anderson Street is for everyone. Like, yeah. And I am not announcing the tribute for Flawless. For those who don't know, Flawless is a party that me and DJ A-List put together that honors the under discussed women of R&B. So it's an R&B party that's female centric, and we usually center it around one artist, but tomorrow it will be a few artists. So nice. That's that. So
I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think we are good.
Yeah,
thank you everybody for coming. Stay tuned tomorrow, and I hope to see everybody on Monday. Peace.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Of course.